further, I'm now joined by Matthew R.J. Brodsky, a Middle East and geopolitical analyst at Wikistrat. Matthew, thank you so much for being with us.
Good to be with you.
Quite a few things going on in Syria today, but let's start with Iran. Iran struck Islamic State targets. One of the first times they've done so. What is the significance of that?
Well, it's certainly Iran sending a message. First of all, they did want to respond for the attack that ISIS carried out in Tehran, that's for sure. But I think it's also important from their perspective to send a message to Saudi Arabia and to the United States. They, along with Russia, are the primary backers of Assad. And the bottom line is that as ISIS is getting pushed back, everyone is rushing in who has an interest in Syria to grab their slice of the pie. And when it comes to Iran, their goal is to create their Shia land bridge from Tehran to the Mediterranean. And it is strategically important, the area of Raqqa, the governorate of Deir el-Zur, and where Americans aren't yet paying attention to enough in the south, near the Jordanian and Iraqi border, Tanf. That's where the highway is. So this is the area that Iran would like to carve out. They'd like to send a message to the United States and to Saudi Arabia, and they are, basically they're banging their chest. And the United States has had a few instances where they've gotten involved against the Syrian forces and some of the Shia militias, all of whom report to Iran. So we're seeing an escalation, but we're also seeing perhaps what is the natural evolution of what's going to happen as ISIS begins to get pushed back.
Now, you mentioned numerous players all looking for a piece of the pie in Syria, obviously including Russia and the U.S., who we see increasingly conflicting despite these deconfliction zones. Why do you think these are so controversial? Is there even a clear line of where each side is supposed to be, or can we really expect these sort of conflicts to continue?
I think we can expect them to continue. I think, first of all, when we look at Syria, start with the understanding that as a state, it really no longer exist. The line between Syria and Iraq is pretty much irrelevant at this point. And then when you get into looking at the territory of what has been Syria, there really are 4 conflict zones right now. And so you have one in Raqqa, you have another one that's to the west, and this is where the west and the north, and that's where Russia mostly is. And there to the west of the Euphrates River, Raqqa, of course, being on the right along the Euphrates River, and America to the south.
Matthew, unfortunately, because of time constraints, we have to end a little early. Thank you so much for that analysis. As you said, an increasingly complicated situation there. Thank you so much for joining us. Coming up.